Walking along a certain part of the Hocking River Trail, one looks above the trees and sees something. They don't completely remember the history of the structure with its unusually tall smokestack and overgrown bricks. They probably think it's just an old part of campus. If known, or not, something has been stalking Ohio University since its inception. Many seem to forget the effect that the Athens Lunatic Asylum had on the Athens community. The media, as well as common stereotypes, have made the asylum out to be a haunted attraction. With this in mind, the real reason why the structure still stands today is not widely known. The Athens Lunatic Asylum, now called the Ridges, is a historical landmark. Despite its unsettling and sometimes hazardous conditions, nonprofit organizations have been maintaining the grounds for the sake of preserving the site's historical attributes. Ohio University has even stepped in with renovation of some of the buildings for class use. Controversy arises with the subject of preservation. Some people see the asylum as a scar on Athens' history because it treated its patients with lobotomies and other unethical practices. These individuals see the asylum as an eyesore of hazardous characteristics that should be demolished and forgotten about. On the other end of the spectrum, individuals who wish to preserve the grounds and its cemeteries acknowledge that the asylum played a large role in the development of the town of Athens. They wish to keep the cemeteries and structures exactly how they were when the institution closed.
We are here at the Ridges today in Athens, Ohio. We are going to give you a tour of the inside facilities here, of the offices on the east side of the facility. And here's a common fact. In the historical retrospect, what it took for someone to be admitted to a mental hospital such as this is not entirely clear. Drug addiction was evidently enough to get admitted to a hospital such as the Athens Lunatic Asylum behind me here. So if you follow me, we're gonna try to get inside here. You can see some parts of the facility are renovated, such as the part we are entering now. And the whole west side of the Ridges Asylum is totally abandoned. There's still artifacts on the inside that haven't been collected yet. And then these rooms off to the right of me here were actual rooms that the patients stayed in.
Ethics and mixed opinions play a big role in this ongoing issue. Either way, the Ridges does not seem to be going away anytime soon. The town of Athens gained a boost in economic prosperity when the Athens Lunatic Asylum was first built. People who empathize with this perspective stress the need to preserve the asylum in its original condition. The demand for work increased with the asylum's construction because contracts for additions and renovations to the building went almost exclusively to local Athens businesses. Through the 19th century, the trustees hired Athens builders for additions and repairs to the asylum building, such as construction of brick corridors in 1886 and plastering of the basement ceiling in 1877. Not only did local businesses prosper from the creation of the asylum, but farmers did as well. The asylum's contract for milk provided a steady source of income for Athens farmer James C. Bowers. He received a one-year contract in 1877 for providing milk at 12 cents a gallon, earning him $2,744 that year. All of the demands of the institution brought many jobs and attention to the small town of Athens. The institution also needed substantial lighting, so it was lit by natural gas provided by the Athens Gas Light Company, which opened in 1874. It was controlled by Athens-based board of directors. All of this new opportunity arguably served as the foundation to what Athens is today. The asylum put Athens on the map, and people who realize this history hope that the abandoned institution remains a historical site. With the structure still standing, the general public has a better chance of recalling the history that formed Athens. If the structure of the Athens Lunatic Asylum and its economic benefits are preserved and documented, its history pertaining to this mistreatment of patients should be equally acknowledged.
Proof of the institution's unethical practices lies with the abundance of unmarked graves or gravestones without names. An Ohio University archivist named Doug McCabe had easy access to the former asylum's records. By referencing the asylum gravebook, he worked with other Athens locals to match names to the graves on the asylum grounds. His work culminated in a 763-page PDF that catalogs a name, number, and biographical information for almost every grave. McCabe was dedicated to making sure that the history of the individuals who once roamed the grounds was never forgotten. The inspiration for this project has a common goal of helping to change the perception of mental illness by sharing the stories of those who are buried at the asylum. One of the main reasons the Ridges is labeled as haunted by the media is because much of the institution remains a mystery. McCabe sought to preserve the identities of these individuals in order to put to rest disrespectful stereotypes. McCabe attempts to uncover truth when he acknowledges that the rumors that the lack of proper grave markers is a result of patient confidentiality issues, McCabe said, is false. Instead, McCabe theorizes that it was simply cheaper to use the numbered stones. While the unmarked grave sites can be spooky subject matter for media outlets, McCabe brings to light that this is not what the media should be reporting about. What really needs to be reported on is the mistreatment from the hospital as they strip patients of their humanity. This true history needs to be preserved, or else it will be covered up with speculation until it becomes forgotten. In modern times, the demolition of the Athens Lunatic Asylum has been debated over the years. Many have claimed that it's time for its demolition in order to forget the harsh history. Others say that it should be preserved as a historical monument or completely refurbished. The asylum had a mixed reputation, and the various perspectives have their own reasoning. Even with the various outlooks on what to do with the Ridges, a couple subjects can be agreed upon. The history of the institution should be respected and should not be used to attract the wrong attention. All sources acknowledge that portraying anything other than the fact through the Ridges creates a stereotype for the mentally ill. The sources demonstrate that the Athens Lunatic Asylum's mixed reputation of benefits and drawbacks calls for the complete recognition of its history, so that the truth can prevail and the false narratives are not to be manifested. In the end, the Ridges' history should be treated with dignity. The main building itself should be renovated and open to the public as a museum of the asylum's past. This would solve the problem of dangerous environments involved with the abandoned structure and create an openness to its true history.
The asylum closed as a mental hospital in 1993. Ohio University eventually purchased the grounds and renamed the site the Ridges. The hospital still spawns much interest, with many people believing that the grounds are haunted. Most believers point to a 54-year-old woman who died in one of the hospital's abandoned wards in 1979. The woman, a patient, had been missing for 6 weeks before staffers found her body.
The asylum had its benefits and drawbacks, and all of these attributes should be displayed. False narratives pertaining to misrepresenting the mentally ill due to not having their place if the history of the asylum is properly depicted to the public. Transforming the abandoned asylum into a dedicated museum will create closure and a sense of peace regarding its past. Despite the direction of public opinion on the topic, one thing is for certain. The ridges of Athens, Ohio will continue to be an everlasting watermark on the city.